we don't want to do that. Or we do hire somebody that just doesn't fit in or just doesn't meld well with the other people. All you got to do is say, he's got to go.
When you say you guys, who you referring to?
Well,
the commissioners
or the judges, or the court clerks, or even the sheriff. I mean, if it's somebody that just is not working out well and can't seem to make this work, they're done.
But as far as approving, that's, you all do that, correct? I mean, the employee, you said you recommend somebody.
If he was going to hire somebody, it would involve the judges, the sheriff. We would probably bounce it off Chief Taylor as well.
There might be something you guys know about.
Circuit clerk, give everybody, because really the day-to-day, what they do, I'm going to rely on Judge Dildine, Judge Burkhamper, Judge Beck, Grace, the prosecutor, everybody that's in that building. You know, hey, this is an area, one area that we've isolated is the, well, I don't want to say this for public knowledge because we have a security issue, but we've isolated a security issue that hopefully we will be able to address a little more effectively when the front door is not a beehive of activity, to have that other guard moving about the property, looking out for some things where we want to bolster up the security a little bit. But we can make the meeting happen tomorrow. It's just a question of getting it to fit everyone's schedule.
You could probably do 9:30.
Well, you probably have court and things.
Tuesdays are my busiest days.
Right, it's going to have to be the afternoon.
I have dockets at 9, 1:30, 3 o'clock. So Tuesdays are my bad day, I'll tell you that right now.
Right, it's a bad day for us as well tomorrow.
I would suggest looking at a meeting, talk to Judge Dildine and Grace. From the court's perspective, is they'd be able to then organize
Right.
who they think is the key people to be
Well,
there.
because, as I said, there's no, it's not a question of, at this juncture, we have to decide, do we want private security or not? The question now, because of the position we're in, is which private security firm do we want and what do we want them to be doing for us? So if that didn't happen tomorrow until after we made the selection, that would push it to Wednesday or Thursday even. You know, that can sure take place, because that, I think I mentioned to you and I've mentioned to Dave and I mentioned to the people from Securitas, ultimately there has to be a sit down with the judges, the clerk, the prosecutor, and determine, hey, here are 2 people that will primarily be watching this front door, but what else do you want them to do? Because the front door, like you say, Friday afternoons is kind of a ghost town over there. But that doesn't mean we let our guard up. But what they do beyond just the front door stuff is the judges and the personnel in that building are going to have, you know, almost all the say so. If you tell me you wanted to do this, I'm not going to object to that.
But I would just say, as far as the meeting goes, I would suggest talking to Judge Dildine, Grace, Ms. Askey, and Ernie Painter, the juvenile officer that's over there.
Right.
Those are the 4 areas, and they can then coordinate with everybody else to who they think should be there. Right. I think those are the people to coordinate a meeting with. I mean, obviously, I would love to be there, but I think those are the ones should be the coordinating people, if you will.
Right. We can push it, and it doesn't necessarily have to be everybody all at once. We can meet with some people tomorrow if that works out in another group, because it's a work in progress. You know, what do we need them to do while they're here? They're 7:30 to 5 is what the shift will be. There'll be 2 people there from 8 to 4:30. That one will come a half hour early, one will stay like I say, the overtime, court, things of that matter, we're prepared to provide the security for that as well. And so, did we answer any of your questions at all, Jim?
Yeah, and I mean, I appreciate you coming in, and I appreciate the chance to express my concerns, so.
I wish there was a really, and I've been fighting and I've been trying to legislate laws for the state of Missouri for our security officers. And I have security officers licensed in St. Charles County. I have some licensed in St. Louis County. Some of them have obviously classes that you go to. The classes, let's just put it that way, they're very minimal and don't explain a whole lot. The real thing is you have to understand the detention laws and not get yourself in trouble with detention laws. And until it happens, you're not going to know if somebody crossed the line or not. So, but we have never, since I've been in business since 1997, we have never had an issue with anything. So, and I have a meeting with the sheriff tomorrow morning. I'd like to get a meeting with the chief of police here in town, just to let them know who we are, what we're about, find out what they would like to see of us. When you come into somebody else's town and somebody else's area, you don't want to come in and try to take over. You want to try to make it work well. So, and we've been very successful in doing that in the past. So, you guys have a little different situation than what I came into in Franklin County, but I mean, the job is about the same. It's just, a little bit different in how it's separating out who's doing what. And I'm not the bad guy here. I'm not coming in to take anybody's job. I'm not here to do anything. I'm coming in to fill a service that I've been asked to look at. So, but very definitely we'll work with anybody and make it happen. So.
I appreciate your time, and like I said, I had questions that hadn't been answered for me, and so I appreciate you being here.
My intention is to be here every day for the first couple months at least, until we feel we have somebody in that place. I will not leave. If it takes me to be here till the rest of the year, The gentleman I'm bringing up with me is out of the academy. He worked at the Franklin County Jail for several months, and he's working for me full-time security now. I forget which academy he went to. I think Columbia have an academy. He went to the academy in Columbia, Letty or something like that. But anyway, he's a graduate. He did very well. Very knowledgeable young man. And none of my people, because they carry a badge and a gun, or they're born E5, I got a badge and gun. We'd much rather not ever deal with any of things on our belt. And one of the questions they asked at the Highway Patrol Academy back when I went there is, what's your best weapon? And the answer to that is your mouth. And, so we always keep that in mind.
Anyone else have any questions for Mr. Dickhouse? Mr.
Actually, my questions for the commissioners, if the amount to provide security currently would be $49,000 or $50,000 from the sheriff's department, what's the amount calculated annually for a private security firm to provide that security?
Well, because it's not an annual figure, we're doing 10 months. It's somewhere in the 55 to 60 range. But to even propose the 49, that's like saying, what if I was 10 feet tall and had 8 legs? It's not reality.
So for 10 months it's about 55, so for an annual contract,
Right.
70?
Yeah.
So the difference would be we could get a commissioned certified officer to do it for...
No, we can't, John. I can't.
Well, you're opening, no, I'm just confused because you said you can't open the budget for this
Right.
to pay the sheriff, but it seems to me that you're opening the budget to pay for this.
No, I'm not opening the budget.
So where's this money coming from?
The emergency fund.
Okay, so we can do the emergency fund for the sheriff too, just like we can for a private security company.
It's not an emergency. If that's an emergency, what's to stop every elected official from saying, well, I don't think I quite have enough, I'm not going to provide that.
So that's an emergency and this isn't?
What's
You
an
said
emergency?
it's not an emergency to give the money to the sheriff, and then you said it's an emergency to give the money to the private security? That's what I thought I heard.
I'm not following your question.
My question.
The point, just,
It's an easy question.
it's an easy question. We cannot open the budget up to make.
For an emergency, to give the sheriff the money to do what could be
I
done
think
for
your
less.
definition of an emergency is a little bit,
I think in this end, it's the same result, to provide security at the Justice Center. So it's
if Kevin Bishop said there's only a portion of my job as far as assessment that I can do with this amount of money, I'm not going to do the rest of it.
I don't think I think you're misinterpreting it. It's the same purpose. It's the purpose of providing security at the Justice Center. One's going to cost us 55 or to 70, and one's going to cost us 49. And I think we should seriously look at one's going to give us commissioned certified officers, and the other one's not going to give us, in essence, commissioned certified officers. I really think, you know, that it's, as a citizen, I'd rather, of course, nothing, with no disrespect, I'd rather see commissioned certified than non-commissioned certified doing security in our governmental buildings, and especially when it's going to be able to be done at a cheaper cost to the citizen and to our budget, which is in, you know, it's not in perfect condition. I mean, I'm just trying to.
Actually, to call it cheaper is a poor characterization as well, because right now, if there are 3 judges on the bench and prisoners in the cell, we don't have 2 people at the front door, the way it is now. Once we do this, we will have 2 people at the front door, a bailiff in each courtroom, and the lieutenant in the cell part of it. So we're actually getting a little more. So to compare straight up to straight up, that's not a fair comparison.
Well, I think
as I said, there's no statutory way to open the budget up without additional.
Right, I think if we take it on an annual basis and we look at the $70,000 that you had said that roughly it's what it's going to cost, and we apply that $70,000 towards maybe 1.5 commission officers, I think that we would probably be able to get it done in a reasonable manner, utilizing commissioned and certified officers.
That's a discussion for next year, but for 2012, we're in a corner.
I don't think you're in a corner. I just either way, the citizens have to come up with the money to cover this. So
That's right.
no, the citizens are in the corner, and I think it's best use of citizens' money to do it at what is, you know, best use of our money at the lowest cost of our money. So it's not a funny issue to me. It's a very serious issue.
And you do understand, John, that we've already paid $181,000 is what we did budget.
But I also know
in all reality, everybody needs to understand that.
Right. I also know by going back and looking at the videos that the sheriff said that this was going to happen on several occasions. So I know that he came to you and said that for $49,000 he could in essence provide this security, and you did not give him that $49,000. So that basically, in all seriousness, the commission took it upon itself to remove the security and in turn create a emergency that is now going to cost the citizens of this county more money to take care of.
Okay. As usual, your interpretation of what reality is different than what mine is, John. But
well, mine's in video.
Excuse me, I'm speaking.
Okay, sorry.
You know, whether he gave $181,000, what Sheriff Krigbaum said, what anybody said, what you videotaped with your interpretation in, right now that amounts to that one right there, 0. Right now, March 1st, I have to have a building secured, and I'm going to do it. Now, I'm doing it based on the situation I have. Whether you like it or not does not factor into my decision. I appreciate your input, but it really is not going to be the basis for our decision.
I know that. You have your own basis for everything you do, so
And
I
in this
understand
case,
that.
it's called the Missouri statute.
We're still reviewing Missouri statutes, as you know. So I just wanted to bring, you know, what's best and wise use of our money. And I think the best and wise use of our money is to have commissioned certified law enforcement officers in the courthouse for a cheaper amount of money. Nothing against what the man can provide as far as security, but I think that now